you delightful little scamps. Welcome to another absolutely delightful slice of Stace and Barry in the morning. I am one half of the Stace and Barry, the Stace half specifically, and joining me on our virtual sofa of Good Morning Geekery is my podcasting big bro and tippy-top gent, Barry Nugent. Hello, dear.
Hey, Stace. Hey, everyone. I know.
I was just going to say, you know, the listeners can't see you waving.
I know, but I was waving to you. I wasn't waving at listeners.
Oh,
I was going to go stuff them, and then I remembered what we were doing and where we are, and I thought maybe not,
Yeah, let's not alienate the audience immediately. Give it at least 3 or 4 minutes.
But I made an effort. Look, I put knitwear on that no one can see.
I was enjoying the knitwear actually. I have reluctantly put on a long sleeve top again because it was actually vaguely warm last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Although I say that it's that time of year. This is a very British conversation. It's that time of year when I always don't know what to do in the mornings when I have to go to the office, because for some reason it's like 3 degrees when I leave the house and then 20 when I leave work, and then 6 when I get back, and I'm like, what coat am I to wear? And I stress out about it. I ended up wearing, in case anyone was interested, a short-sleeved cropped denim jacket that I absolutely froze at the bus stop in. Yeah, but then I roasted when I got to the office because they'd got the heating on and it was an 18-degree day. She's never comfortable. She's never comfortable. How are you doing, B? Nobody wants to hear about that.
If anyone's interested in the type of knitwear I'm wearing, if you go and watch Superman 2, specifically the scene when they're in the honeymoon where you find out that Lois finds out that Clark is Superman, he wears a very similar piece of knitwear to this. The only difference is mine is red and his is a cream colour.
I like the red on you. I think it looks good.
Thanks, Stace.
Oh, you're welcome.
I like to make an effort.
I have to keep thinking now about what I wear when I do, because I've done a couple of guest spots on some podcasts that will be out in the not too distant future recently, and I keep forgetting to ask people, are you going to put the video for this anywhere? Do I need to have a proper face today?
A proper outfit.
Yeah, I say a proper face. I don't wear makeup or anything. I just mean, do I need to look vaguely awake and, not like I'm about to fall asleep or have a cry, one of the two. So, Rich laughed at me the other day because I did a guest spot on a podcast that was about the 1990 Turtles movie, and I changed my T-shirt so that I was wearing a Turtles T-shirt, and he was like, yeah, they know you're a fan. You're on the podcast. Yeah, but shut up about it. Getting spousal abuse there. Well, I mean, not really, but
No.
Oh gosh.
Before we get into trumpet time, give a shout out to 2 trailers.
Oh yeah, go on.
My first trailer I want to give a proper shout out to. The other trailer probably less so. Is today marks the first day that I have not watched the new Mission Impossible trailer.
When did it come out?
Final Reckoning. I don't know. I think it was last week.
Okay.
Maybe about a week ago. Maybe. Don't know. I have literally watched that trailer several times a day. Today marks the first day I haven't watched it, and to be honest, I don't quite know how I feel about that at the moment. But
feel a bit jittery.
Yeah, I might have to just go in after this one and just get a quick hit in. I love that trailer and I love the series, and I'll be sorry to see it go. But and it's provided some of the best musical scores.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to seeing Tom Cruise doing some more tomfoolery. Ooh.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I see what I did there. I didn't even realise I did it. Go big.
Cruise foolery.
Magic of the swear. And the second one, I watched this trailer literally just before we were about to record. Otherwise, I would have sent it to you because it's just fucking nonsense. I'm calling it budget blood. Have you seen Bloodsport?
Yeah.
I'm calling it budget Bloodsport. Or Bloodsport if you rented it and it came from Temu. Bloodsport.
Yeah.
So I watched the trailer for this. It's called Absolute Dominion.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll read you the blurb, right? In the year 2063 AD, the world faces catastrophe as zealots and extremists wage a global holy war, crumbling cities and dismantling entire countries in the name of spiritual superiority. Desperate for a solution to save humanity from itself, the world's governing bodies vote to establish a radical new form of diplomacy called the Battle for Absolute Dominion, a fierce martial arts tournament featuring the best fighters in the world to determine a champion whose faith will govern humanity and restore peace for the future.
So, like, Mortal Kombat government.
Yeah. Religious right?
Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, you have to send me a link to that.
The world's gone to hell in a handbasket, and it's all religions for it. It's all different religions battling. So some bright sparks that I know what we'll do. We'll get every religion send their top fighter, and whoever wins, that's the religion we'll follow.
I mean, to be fair, look, we should just do that anyway, don't you think?
We should do that. We should do it for everything.
Yeah.
What we're gonna have for dinner for tonight? I don't know, but let's just get some people off the street and make them fight to the death, and whoever wins, I'm gonna back the KFC fighter.
I'm backing lasagna, mate.
Ultimate KFC. The ultimate KFC championship. That takes all.
Oh gosh, that sounds so stupid, but also like completely in my wheelhouse.
but also the trailer just looked god awful. It just looked. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. Is
anybody even vaguely famous in it, or
yes,
is
it's got. I'm just going to turn off my heater because I'm actually a bit warm. Is it Patton Oswalt?
Oh, okay. That's not what I was expecting you to say.
He's not fighting.
Aww.
But it basically looks like someone's walked in to direct. I got a great idea for a film, and he's pitched it with this kind of winner takes all religion thing, and it's like it's going to be a cross between Bloodsport and Hunger Games, and it is literally someone's just gone dress those people up like they're in the Hunger Games. You know, they've got the kind of weird, dress them up like the Hunger Games, and we'll make that a bit like Bloodsport. Job done. Cash the checks. Here we go. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to watch that.
Yeah. Pardon the religious pun, but it looks god awful.
Thing is, though, sometimes the absolutely awful movies are the best ones.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at you, Jason Statham. I really want to go and see A Working Man, but it hasn't happened for me yet.
No.
Harumph. Right, shall I get a trumpet out?
Trumpet it.
Jazz. It's time for a pick of the fortnight. Hey, shall I go first? Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Have you been watching The Studio, perchance?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Is that your pick of the fortnight, or do you hate it?
No, I don't. We put it on, and because I saw a trailer for it. It's the thing with Seth Rogen. It's not Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah.
It's Seth Rogen. Oh yeah. We put it on. I watched the trailer for it, and I thought this looks really good. Mm-hmm. And then we put it on to watch. We watched about 10 minutes of it, and then we realised that Hacks had come back. I love Hacks. It's a whole different thing. If you don't watch Hacks, people go watch Hacks. It's a great show. We realised the third season of Hacks had started back, so we were like, right, let's go watch Hacks. And then we never came back to the studio. And you go, and then I'll come back to my opinion.
Okay, well, I will say this for it. The first episode is the least interesting, even though I still loved it. For those that don't know what The Studio is, it's an Apple TV show that was created by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and a bunch of other people whose names I didn't write down because I'm a terrible human being. And it stars Seth Rogen, who plays a guy called Matt Remick, who becomes the new head of a movie production company called Continental Pictures. It's got like Baron Holtz in it. It's got Catherine Hahn in it. It's got a bunch of other people in it, and it's also got a lot of famous people playing themselves. as sort of exaggerated versions of themselves, I suppose, in it. And that actually leads me to the one teeny weeny tiny problem that I have with it, which I'll get out of the way first before I start being super positive, which is I really struggle with stuff where famous people are in things as themselves and other famous people are in it not as themselves. So it's really hard for me to not think of Seth Rogen as Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to not think of Ike Barinholtz as Ike Barinholtz when other people are coming in and being themselves, and it's set in Hollywood, which is where they usually are. So that I find that really like bamboozling, but that is my own sort of stupid brain. But the thing I love about this is it's obviously like a love letter to Hollywood at the same time as like ribbing it. It's really, really funny. And it's mostly sort of like single camera type stuff. And it's just so phenomenally made. Like the staging, the blocking, there's cameras that go like from drones onto cars and then onto people in smooth single shot moments that you just like, baffled. I watched a little bit of like behind the scenesy stuff that Seth Rogen put up on some of his social medias, and I was just like it's genuinely amazing what some people can do, isn't it? Like like people are so like amazing when they actually like use their brains and create stuff. Like, isn't that, it's one of the many reasons that I will forever be cross at generative AI, because it's discouraging people from using their own beautifully artistic creative brains. But that's a whole other rant for another day. But yeah, it's really, really funny. It's super inventive as well. Like they had one episode that was sort of filmed a bit like a sort of like crime noir movie of the past.
Okay.
And it was really, really funny. I think it's right. Here's what I'm going to say. Take Severance and just put that in a different room, because that's operating on a whole different level of telly. So don't even think about Severance, right? But then of all the other telly that I've seen in the past few years, like this is one of the best things I've seen. It's smart, it's quick, it's witty, it's like laugh out loud funny. Technically, it's amazing. Just generally, I've just been absolutely like every episode I've gone, holy shit, that's amazing. And then the next one comes on and I'm like, how is it better? How do they do this? So yeah, I've been absolutely loving it, and I would wholeheartedly recommend going back to it. The reason I say that the first episode is probably the least impressive is because that's the one that's like sort of mostly setting up who everybody is, and you know, him taking over the business and why that's happening and all that sort of stuff. But like once that's sort of out of the way and we actually get into the sort of shenanigans of making movies, like that's where it really starts to shine. There's a great episode where he actually goes to do a set visit and then just absolute chaos ensues because he's a disaster person. It's very funny. Yeah, I've been having a whale of a time with it. Absolutely love it.
Okay. I will go back to it then off the back. I suppose my thing was, and it is that thing of, I didn't not like it.
Yeah.
I didn't sort of go, this is awful. But I think it was, and I think it threw me as well, because I thought it was going to be like a half-hour show, and it's not, is it?
No. It's quite long, yeah.
But I find really, so I will go back to it, and then I will report back.
Excellent.
My
homework.
Yeah, my homework. I've made a note of it. But what I find really, really interesting out of all of the sort of the different streaming channels that we have and the rest of it, that the most inventive and out there one is Apple TV.
Yeah, they're really bringing it.
Because that's the one, in some ways, I would have thought would have been the most, I don't know, corporate, but do you know what I mean? It feels, everything that I've watched where I've gone, well, that's a bit different, has tended to have come from Apple TV. And like, there's a lot of their sci-fi stuff is knocking out. I love Foundation, which they do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have watched and loved, I think it's called Silo.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those, but I have heard good things.
But I love Foundation. And I love, there was a show called, and obviously I love like slow horses and stuff, but there's a show called Sugar, which was with Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And he's like a private eye in it and stuff like that. I mean, I literally cannot say anything more than that. And I watched that show, and there was bits in that show I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I really liked that show because it used like a lot of the old Hollywood detective films to sort of superimpose on what was going on and stuff. And because I grew up watching a lot of those films, I loved those films. I was spotting them and things like that. So yeah, I find it really, really fascinating that they're the ones that are actually bringing it in terms of trying to do different things. Whereas,
yeah, I feel like Apple TV take their time with things and do them properly, whereas it feels to me like other services just like churn out as much content as human. Like, what can we get out there in front of faces to bodge up the numbers? Yeah. Whereas like Apple TV, because I don't know if you watched like the Big Door Prize was Apple TV as well, I think.
No, I didn't. I think I tried it and it didn't really. I think that's the thing with their stuff is it's not the whole is there's something for everyone, but I think you've got to find your niche within it, if that makes sense.
Shrinking was them as well, which I need to watch season 2 of because I haven't watched it yet.
I love Shrinking.
Yeah. Yeah. But it does feel like they take their time with stuff and they make sure that it's like genuinely, you know, good. And I say good in a loose sense because obviously all art is subjective, so some people will like some stuff and blah, blah. But it does feel like it's not just like algorithmically farted out to try and get a ton of views on the first day kind of thing, like a lot of other streaming services do. We're not getting paid by Apple TV, lads, just so you know. I mean, if Apple TV want to give us some coins, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, you know, on the flip side, we watched, which was on Amazon, we watched G20, which is the one with Viola Davis, which is basically Die Hard at the G20 summit. Yeah, I had a whale of a time, proper enjoyed it, but you know, it's not going to win any Oscars.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But there's a place for those sorts of films to be.
Absolutely.
You know, there's times I just want to sit down. I just want to be entertained. There's other times where I kind of want to be entertained, but have a little bit more meat on the bone, as it were. But yeah, I think you make a really good point. I think there's a lot of the stuff on Apple. It feels like there's more. They've taken their time more to craft. Something.
It feels purposeful. Yeah. But yeah, highly recommend the studio. And I mean, I am a little bit biased because I've loved Seth Rogen for the entire time I've ever known he's existed. So very early crush for Stace. Celebrity crush was Seth Rogen. But anyway, what's your pick of the fortnight be?
So my pick of the fortnight is, I'm going to stick with this one. It's Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Which is on Amazon. And I watched the main reason I picked this as well is I watched the first season of it and was kind of underwhelmed. And I think it came out around the same time as Rings of Power season 1, and I was really underwhelmed. So it was a whole underwhelmed party / shit show going on in terms of fantasy. And season 2, Wheel of Time came out, and it didn't register on my radar. I didn't make an active, I'm not watching that because it's shit. It just didn't register at all.
Yeah.
And Sue had gone away on holiday recently, and I was left to my own devices for like nearly 3 weeks. And I survived, people. And for some reason, it was one evening, I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to give Wheel of Time another go. And I went and watched one of those recap videos because I'm like, I have no idea who's who and whatever. So I don't want to rewatch season 1. So can I just have a recap video, please? So 10 minutes of recap.
Job done.
And I watched season 2, and it was like night and day. I was like, oh my God, this is great. I'm really enjoying it. And then I started on season 3, which is what's currently going at the moment. And the first episode of season 3, it felt like the finale of a fantasy show.
Okay.
But the opening sort of 10 minutes, I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck? And I think I rang Dave afterwards and said, you need to get on this. And I think part of it is Dave, so the Wheel of Time is based on a series of books by, I think his name's Robert Jordan. I haven't read a single one. I remember, though, back in the day at school, Dave used to read them.
Right.
And back then, my reading wasn't that, which is why it took me so long to read Lord of the Rings. I thought it was boring, the first book. Anyway.
Yeah. I thought all of them were.
Yeah, I don't know. And I used to see his Wheel of Time books. I'm like, I'm never reading those. They're way too thick. So I went into this blind, and I think a lot of people who have read the books, I've seen a lot of kind of blowback on it. It was like, this isn't like the books, blah, blah. So, but for me, it's like I've got no skin in the game. I have none. Yeah. I don't know who's who, whoever. But what I like about it is it feels like the kind of old school fantasy I used to like when I was a kid, i.e. like when people did magic and shit, there was like light and lightning and things flying around and stuff. When people did magic, you saw the magic, as in you saw lots of light and fire and stuff like that, and big explosions, which I like. And yeah, there's some grayness to the sort of heroic characters, but by and large, the heroes are being heroic and the baddies are being baddies.
Mm-hmm.
And at this current time in my life, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Rather than the Game of Thrones style of fantasy that we've kind of had, where it's like everyone's great, everyone's this, and I'm like, do you know what? Real life is a bit of a shit show at the moment. It's nice to actually have people just trying to do some good stuff.
Yeah, don't watch Black Mirror then.
No,
because that came back this week. And
I on a side note with Black Mirror, I have only ever seen one episode of Black Mirror.
Right.
And that's the very first episode where he fucks. Yeah, whatever it is. It's possibly one of the worst things I've ever seen on TV in terms of like just, you don't even say anything, but just horrific. The setup of it, and I just thought, I'm not watching any more of this.
Yeah.
And stuck with that.
I think, do you know what's really annoying about Black Mirror is that it's one of those programs that, like, technically it's amazing. Like, I can't fault, like, the writing and the acting and all that sort of stuff. But it is so cynical about humans. And to be honest, like, the worse our actual world gets, the more I think, like, yes, they're on the money, but I really don't need to see that right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear that humans are a bit shit, actually, because people always, like, brush off Black Mirror as being like, oh, technology's bad, but that isn't the moral. The moral is technology is bad if you use it like an arsehole. And the problem is that every episode is about an arsehole using tech.
Maybe they should change it from Black Mirror to just arseholes using tech.
Maybe. I don't. They probably won't get quite as many viewers then, I don't think. But
I don't know. I'd probably watch those.
Yeah, but it is very cynical about, like, it assumes that, like, everybody is an arsehole, really, and this is, like, inevitably how things are going to go, and it's just like, oh, that's a grim message, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is quite nice to have some media sometimes that's just, good triumphing over evil. And
yeah.
you know,
it just reminds me of like those sort of shows back in the day. But I mean, they are better. But I mean, this is better. But shows like like your Xena and your Hercules and things like that. It just, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of those a little bit. It's just doesn't seem to take itself quite as seriously as like the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the Rings of Power because I'm probably going to get murdered on the internet for this, but I didn't really like the Lord of the Rings movies. I thought, like, visually stunning, everybody's bringing their A game, but just snooze fest for this gal. Also, a big spider. What's that for? Fuck off.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't watch that. That entire scene was eyes closed. So
yeah, I can imagine. I saw it at a theatre live, and that wasn't a fun time for me. I've got to say.
No. And it's that thing of, it was weird when they said they were doing the Lord of the Rings film. My first thought was like, oh my god, what if they get to like do the third film and they do that giant spider? And then I was like, nah, it won't even get that far. And then obviously they do the first film, which is okay, you didn't like it, but I loved it.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And I'm like, oh crap. Well, we've still got 2 films to go, and then they do the same. Oh god, they're actually going to land this thing. Shit. So yeah, it was eyes closed pretty much for that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
So, but yes, that's my Wheel of Time rambled.
Excellent. Right, it's trumpet time, baby. Jazz. I should make a note of some of those that I do and try and do the same ones.
What, the trumpets?
The trumpets, yeah. Oh. Hey, it's musical musing time, and I've been on my Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross bullshit all day today.
Have you?
I have, yeah. I was in the mood for something a little bit sort of electronic and grimy, and I thought, do you know what I'm going to bob on? I'm going to bob on the Social Network score. That's what I'm going to do. Now, I don't know if you've listened to the Social Network score.
No.
It was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's first movie score. And I don't know how true this is, but, like, the internet tells the story that David Fincher went to Trent Reznor and said, I want you to do the score for my Facebook movie. And Trent Reznor went to Atticus Ross and went, I don't know how to do a movie. Help me. and so Atticus Ross says, all right, chill the fuck out, man. Right, have a breath. We'll put some noises down on a record. See how we go. And they busted out these like 16 tracks, and they sent them to David Fincher. And then Fincher was like, yeah, that's it, done, sorted. Cheers, mates. And they were like, huh? Which, if true, is amazing, really. It kind of boggles my mind that this is their first movie soundtrack, because it's so fucking competent. It's ridiculous. I will say I've only seen the film once, and this was back when it came out in like 2010, 2011.
Is this the one with Jesse?
Yes, Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah. Plays Mark Zuckerberg, I think.
And Andrew Garfield, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember thinking at the time that the movie was all right, and I've never watched it since. So, but the soundtrack, the score has always been something that, like, I'll go back to because it's really fucking good. I think, like, Reznor and Ross have this, like, incredibly impressive ability to write music that somehow evokes, like, conflicting emotions at the same time. And I think that's why their score really works for this film, because, like, there's this thing about, I don't feel sorry for him because he's a fucking billionaire and also he's an absolute twat. But, like, there's, like, the thing about Mark Zuckerberg is that essentially he set up Facebook because, like, he was a bit bullied and his girlfriend broke up with him at the time, and he just sort of wanted to, like, do something to sort of get back at her and just set up this. It was basically a website for ranking women, which is
yeah, I remember, yeah.
But, like, even though he's a twat bag, there are, like, some things about his story that a lot of people would resonate with in terms of, like, the bullying and the not really, you know, having very good luck with relationships and stuff. And I think what this score does really well is it's got this, like, underlying melancholy, even in the more sort of energetic electronic tracks, that remind you that, like, everybody in this is actually a person, and that, like, you know, again, caveating this with, he is a prick, but lots of things have come together to make him the prick that he is, if that makes sense. Many things have coalesced badly for him. I mean, one of which is sort of just his personality, but but I think they have this, like, really amazing way of making songs sound like kind of menacing at the same time as sounding kind of, like, cool and modern and, like I say, energetic. This whole soundtrack is, like, it's got, like, a sort of moody, dark undertone, but it's also still, like, experimental electronica. Like, it's so good. Like, I just can't listen to this and be like, oh yes, this is clearly a person's first attempt at a movie score. Like, what? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's absolutely phenomenal, the whole score is. But the track that I chose is called In Motion, and the reason I picked that one is just because it's got a really good beat. And you can't argue with a really good beat. I tell you what it did. I was listening to it at work today, and as I was working on my laptop, it made me feel like I was like a hacker in like a mid-2000s movie, where I'm like just furiously typing away, even though you're not even really pressing any buttons. You know that thing that really annoys you in movies because you're an IT guy, where people like somehow type absolute nonsense and have cracked a government code. That's what I felt like this afternoon while I was writing my emails.
I would have annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't typing gibberish though. I was actually writing proper email. It's just they weren't hacking anything. I was just writing a news story about a learning disability sponsored disco. But
hey,
what you're gonna do. But yes, that's my musical musing for this episode. Go and listen to the whole soundtrack because it is great.
Good pick. I'd like to preface my pick by saying it is not going to be anywhere near as nuanced or as clever as what you just said. Because I sat there going, like, fucking hell. Oh my God, shit.
Sorry, bro.
How it's all come together to make it, and I'm just like, oh God, shit.
I like my noises.
No, I'm looking at my pick and I'm like, do I have to go next? Maybe we could just stop here.
Look at the time. I have to be somewhere.
So I'm even looking at the slide. So I was very excited a week ago because I discovered that this soundtrack was on Spotify, and I had no idea it was on Spotify. It could have always been on Spotify, and I just never bothered to look it up. But anyway, so the soundtrack, which is interesting because it's a nice link back to a film I'd mentioned in the trailers we talked about at the beginning, is the soundtrack to Bloodsport, which was the Van Damme film, where he wasn't fighting for religion, he was just fighting because really. And I love Bloodsport. Loved it when I saw it. I still love it to this day. I just enjoy it. And it was the first time. Actually, it wasn't the first time I saw Van Damme. The first time I saw Van Damme, he was the bad guy, which was in No Retreat, No Surrender.
Yeah. That was a Frost family classic. That was.
Retreat, there's no surrender. Loved that film too. And he then did, I don't know if that was his next one, but I then saw him again in Bloodsport. I was like, he's the guy from No Retreat, and he was wicked in Bloodsport. And the bad guy was the bad guy from Enter the Dragon. I mean, it just everything about this film was just great. But the thing I remember most about it was the soundtrack, which is by Paul Herzog. And one of my favourite scenes in Bloodsport is where he gets trained.
Yeah.
And he learns how to sort of fight blindfold, which obviously comes in handy in the final battle. Spoiler, kids, he wins. Shock. Spoiler. But I just loved this piece of music because it's very kind of its time. There's a lot of panpipes.
Yeah, we liked those, didn't we?
I absolutely adore it. So the track I've picked is called Flashback Montage, which just says it all, really.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, it isn't half as or as nuanced as your pick. It's literally, I've picked it because it's Van Damme in it, getting trained how to fight blindfold.
Yeah. I mean, you are allowed to pick things just because you enjoy them. That's fine.
Thanks, Stace.
I will never judge because I'm nice like that. But do you know what? That's the soundtrack I don't think I've ever listened to, even though that was like No Retreat, No Surrender and Bloodsport were like my sister's two favourite movies for about 4 years straight. So they were on every weekend. It was like, okay, we're watching Bloodsport again. Cool.
Damn right.
I'll have to give that a listen because I've not. I don't think I've seen that since I was about 15.
be a bit of Bloodsport. To be fair, I've probably not seen it since it came out in its entirety. I just watched bits of it.
Yeah.
And it's got great. I mean, No Retreat, No Surrender has a great song, which is No Retreat, No Surrender. But it is eclipsed by the Bloodsport song Kumite. Kumite.
I was thinking the other day about they're doing like I'm not going to call it a remake because they're doing another version of the Running Man that's apparently closer to the source material.
Yes.
And I just said to Rich, if it doesn't finish with that song, no pain, no gain, I will lose my mind. Like, that has to be the song. Heard you hear you calling my name. So good.
No gain.
Such a banger. I was like, if they don't pick a song like that, then it's not as good a movie as the Arnie Running Man, is it?
And I feel that's what's missed with movies today, in that we don't have cheesy end title tracks.
Yeah, or like songs that go with it that explain to you the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah.
I love a bit of that.
Yeah.
I love a bit of that. Anyway, do we have time for the final segment, or do you need to do a skidoosh?
I will quickly mention Saturday morning comics.
Okay. Off you go.
Right, Saturday morning comics. I read a comic laters.
It doesn't say which one it is. He just hangs up.
So I want to give a shout. I don't know if you listen, probably not, to Dan Marshall of Sidekicks podcast fame, who recommended me this comic series, which is quite apt, seeing that the Netflix show is kind of not Netflix, Disney show is kind of just finished, I think. Or no, I think it's got one more episode. So this is Daredevil.
Ah, okay.
And this is the run by Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, I love that guy. Yep.
Now apparently it started way back in 2019. And I think it was, so according to this, so it was issues 1 to 36, and then it was followed by Devil's Reign, which I'm guessing was a event comic, and then Daredevil and Elektra. So Dan had told me about it. I started, he's like, you've got to get on this. He's like, I bought all the volumes. But what I hadn't realised was the first volume was available for free on Kindle Unlimited, but all the others you had to buy. But it's because it's because there was a sale on, and he'd got them dirt cheap in the sale, so he's able to buy all the volumes. I went on, fucking sale had ended, hadn't it?
Oh no!
So I was like, what? So I bought the first. I read the first volume and I was like, this is amazing. So I bought the second volume and I was like, this is amazing, but I don't want to keep buying, buying volumes. So in the end, I signed up to, I think it's called Marvel. I don't know if it's Marvel Universe. It's basically Marvel's Comixology app, whatever it's called. I think it might be Marvel Universe. It says, I'm just going to look it up. Marvel Unlimited. And they're all on there. So I thought, do you know what? It's £8 a month. I could probably rinse them out in a month anyway. And for a while, I've been wanting to try that Marvel Unlimited anyway, but there's so much stuff out. I don't know what to read in terms of that. And this is a great place to start because for me, it's the best Daredevil I'm just enjoying it so much. I'd forgotten how much I really enjoy street level heroes as well. And it's brutal. The character work's really good. They show Kingpin in a very different light as well. Yeah. And the fact that I was going into it, having read nothing else around it, I didn't feel like I'd been dropped into the middle. I wasn't lost. There's stuff they refer to and it kind of goes, oh, you can pick up Daredevil volume and explains it. But I don't, it gives me enough that I don't need to go and back. So actually, I've now done, I'm just looking, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. Yeah, I think I would say I've probably done the first 3 volumes now. And yeah, really enjoying it. The art is glorious. Although the artist has changed a couple of times. I'm just trying to find who the main artist guy is. It's loading. See, that's annoying. Because I've gone on to like Goodreads. Oh no, sorry, I take it back. It's got Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto as an illustrator, and Lalit Kumar Sharma as an illustrator. And the art is glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Glorious. And the way they do his radar sense as well is done really well. It's a great jumping on point if you've not read Daredevil, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, great.
Excellent. I haven't read a non-Turtles comic for so many years.
I think given the fact it's like, I think because of the Turtles, I know there's different reasons, but I think with the whole ninja slant and that kind of stuff, I think you'd get a kick out of it as well.
Yeah. Well, the Turtles were like a sort of parody / homage to Daredevil, weren't they? So, and I did when I used to squash comics like there was no tomorrow. I did used to read a lot of Daredevil, and I really enjoyed it. Because I like the courtroom drama stuff almost as much as I like the kicking ass ninja stuff. So
yeah.
So I've always quite liked Daredevil, but it got to that point with me where it was just like unwieldy in terms of both cost and storage to be reading floppies anymore. It was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I might look into Marvel Unlimited and like just bust through a few things I haven't had a look at over the past couple of years, because I bet I'm missing so much good stuff.
Yeah, and they do a free 7-day trial.
Oh, okay. Take a week off work and just play through everything I've wanted to read for the last 3 years.
If I'd thought about it, I got a couple of days off over the Easter. If I'd thought about it, I would have done it then, and then I could have probably got through most of it. But I just thought, you know what, even if I only spend 1 month and I'll just read stuff, but it may lead me onto other Marvel stuff. But yeah, it's been a really good, enjoyable time.
Excellent. Cool. Well, that, folks, was... Oh, hello. You made a noise that made it sound like stuff was happening.
Oh, no, I'm still here.
Okay, good. Oh, no, a spider has appeared. Excuse me 1 moment. I have to rectify that situation. Get out of my life. Sorry. What was I saying? That was an episode of Stace and Barry in the Morning. Flipping heck. If you'd like to get in touch with me and B, you can send an email to staceandbarry@gmail.com, or you can follow us on most of the socials at Stacey's Parlour and at Geek Syndicate. I tend to hang around Threads and Instagram more than anywhere else now. I don't know why. I've just gravitated there. So that's the best place to find me if you want to shout words at my face. Yeah, I think that's it. Job done.
We are done.
Podcast ended. Bye, everyone. We love you.
Bye, all.